what would it take for you to move, not all the way over there, just one line, just one line?
Oh, I have watched a video of this guy before. I watched a video of... I think we covered it on the channel, actually. There was some crazy confrontation at Portland State University. Did I harm students by asking this question? So they probably accused him of violence for speaking against the liberal orthodoxy. If you speak out against the liberal orthodoxy, you are committing a hate crime. And it's violence. Words are violence if you're a pussy-ass liberal. This is words they live by, apparently. This is words that they live by because they're pathetic. They are pathetic. But yeah, we can get into this. We can get into this.
I guess if they told me how many genders specifically there were, I can't think of anything that would change my opinion, I guess. But if you got some friends going.
Oh, you're giving me the finger? Hi. I'm standing in front of the social work building. I'm harming individuals by asking that question. Well, you want to come down and have a conversation about it?
Words are violence.
Why do you want to come down and have a conversation? Oh. Okay, so what would it take for you to move to the strongly agree?
In this man's class, after a long, controversial 10 weeks of lectures in this giant auditorium on the final day, he posed a question to the students. He says, if anybody has disagreed with anything I've said over the last 10 weeks, come down and sit in this chair in a spotlight in the middle of the auditorium. Here's a platform. Tell me to my face. Which I'm glad. I was the only one who walked down and you gave me an A.
Excuse me. Hi, I'm so curious about what's happening out here.
Oh, it's a critical thinking game where we take a look at claims and you step on a line you want to play.
Well,
you want to watch the game played?
Well, we were watching from up there actually because we happened to see the sign from up in the School of Social Work, which is on the 6th floor, and some of our trans students saw the statement. There are only two genders.
Well, thanks for coming down to talk.
It was pretty activating and upsetting not knowing the context. We thought it was sort of a statement that was being made, but not a thought exercise necessarily.
Would you like to see how the game is played?
No.
I think we
Is it something that
yeah.
should be a game, though?
An exercise? You want to use defund the police as one?
Well, just thinking about what it looks like.
Yeah.
What does it look like
to
see
whole
like
community.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5 white men with a sign that says there's only two genders? You could have been like the Westboro Baptist Church.
The fact that they're white.
Why did
relevant?
you identify us on the basis of our race?
Well, are you the best people to be hosting that dialogue about?
No, but you.
Representative of that community.
Okay, but I asked you a question. Why did you identify me and these people on the basis of their race?
What it looks like, right? Kind of like the activating, triggering aspect of it all.
So you think?
Oh, they're listening to me complain about the gas prices. I do it verbally and out loud every day when I fucking get gas. And I get everybody around me to agree with me. And then I tell them they should vote Trump so we can get some fucking better gas prices.
Think that it's morally acceptable to identify people on the basis of their race?
It's not a moral question. It's a matter of like the fact
It's
that
just about power and
identity
privilege,
exists.
and identity and representation, right? So if you have a bunch of queer folks out here asking those kinds of questions, and
Well, how do you know we're not queer?
that's true, I don't know, but there's not sort of a representative, holistic, inclusive feeling, especially from up on high. We're looking down
There's
and we
not
see this statement
a holistic,
being made. We're curious about
inclusive
it. We're also
feeling
just
from what my eyes witnessed from a 6th floor window. I didn't feel inclusivity from the 6th floor fucking window. What, bitch? What have you ever looked out of a 6th floor window and seen it and felt included? Like, what are we even talking about? What is this fucking retard talking about? And she's probably a professor. Or the head of fucking diversity and inclusion. I don't know why they hire crazy liberal white chicks to increase diversity and inclusion.
Just worried about the harm being done to passersby.
What is the harm?
So there are
What's
people
the
who
harm?
people who went home because it was so
Yeah.
triggering and
We had
activating.
some students.
So I
had
think
to leave.
the end result is there.
You know you're on film, right?
That is totally fine.
Okay.
There are real people who are really hurt by this statement.
People went home because they had a sign asking a question? Wow.
So
What were they heard about?
question that because that's not how they identify, and so it seems like a really triggering statement
Well,
to
the
just say
sign
there are
wasn't
two
to identify
genders,
them.
if that's not been your experience. So it's very harmful and very hurtful, and there's human lives that were affected, so I think that's the message we're trying to send, is to maybe consider the questions that you're asking or posing before you begin your thought experiment.
So check with every minority group. You can't actually check with the whole group because I don't know why liberals don't get it, but not all gay people think the same. Not all trans think the same. Not all black people think the same. Not all Republicans think the same. They just have this mentality because all liberal Democrats do think the same. Because if you think anything different, they immediately fucking excommunicate you from their club. And you're no longer one of them. But nobody else has unithink. That's not a thing. There's majority think. So like the majority of black people are voting fucking retardedly. But it's not all black people. The majority of Mexicans vote like retards also. But it's not all Mexicans. The majority of white women vote like retards. But it's not all white women. I mean, it's most white women. Nothing can collapse a society faster than a fucking liberal white bitch. This is facts. This is facts.
Are you curious about like what we're bringing to you at all, or do you have?
I'm thinking about. I'm extremely curious, and I'm extremely respectful. I genuinely respect the fact that you came, as opposed to 7 or 8 of you giving me the middle finger and saying "fuck you" to me. So yeah. So.
What do you gain from this? Like, what is your reason that you just want to cause trouble, or like why
Well,
are
it's a
you?
thought experiments
So,
to figure out people's thoughts.
I'm fascinated. I do street epistemology, and I'm fascinated if the people. Epistemology is from the Greek, basically how you know what you think. Okay, so street epistemology is taking it out of the university and bringing it into the street.
First off, don't even talk to a person standing there in public in a mask because they're clearly fucking retarded. So don't even acknowledge their existence. Pretend they don't exist. Because they shouldn't, maybe. Take off the fucking mask, stupid people.
Street. So I'm very curious. Okay, a sidewalk or a.
This is like 20-year-old.
This isn't street epistemology. You're doing this on the poor.
Okay, if you don't like the word street, you can call it
Public?
plaza epistemology, whatever. But the idea is you take it out of the university and you see if the reasons that people have for things justify their confidence in it. So this is a confidence scale. We can do this with any claim you want. We can do this with a mayor of the city. We can do this with should the United States be funding Ukraine? I think it's $800 billion. Should the United States, is it more important to control inflation or employment? And we put people on a spectrum. They start on, let me just explain again. So you asked, so I'll tell you. So what am I going to do?
I think what we're just saying is and I think those questions are thought-provoking and important questions to ask folks in our community, I think what we were struck by was the statement on the board that it wasn't a question and that there was no context clues for folks, especially trans folks, to know that this was not your belief, but this is more of a thought experiment.
Okay, would you be more comfortable if it was a question? Like if I put a question mark?
Sure.
Okay, I'm more than happy to put a question at the end.
A question is a question and not a statement.
More than happy to.
Some type of warning or a statement of like what you're doing on another board, so people can walk by and like try and understand that, because from afar it looks.
This is a thought experiment.
Yeah.
This is
what we're asking people.
I'm more than happy to do that.
And then that way it can kind of.
This guy is way too.
I'm more than
nice.
happy to do that. I only have one board, but I'm more than happy to put on this is a thought experiment and put a question mark. If I put a question mark, I could. I don't know. I'm worried that people wouldn't be able to see it. But I'm more than happy to, if I put a question mark at the end and then I put another one, it's not really, it is a thought experiment, but it's more of an exercise / game starts thought experiment. If I put that on the end, would all of the concern vaporize?
No, probably not, because we're talking about real humans with their lived experience and their positionality, their identities, you know, and sort of, I might have a very different personal feeling walking by because it doesn't target my identity specifically. So we're just sort of here to sort of advocate and elevate who might be harmed by a statement.
Yeah,
what do you mean by
you're a
harmed?
dumb white bitch being offended on behalf of people.
Well, people who have been like historic.
Nobody asked you to be offended on behalf of them. And it's kind of degrading to the people to be offended on behalf of them.
Historically and currently oppressed, right, by dominant systems, patriarchy, whiteness, masculinity, all of the systems that harm people who don't fit within those sort of more rigid.
That's why you want a question and not a statement.
Can I also ask, like,
now, I just want an answer. That's why you want a question, not a statement?
I think a question is an invitation, right?
More than happy to make it a question.
Participate in this conversation. It's
more than happy to do that.
You know, you're representing, you know, with your identity, a belief, perhaps especially when it's a statement. And so what it looks like is you're out here saying there are two genders, and then anyone who doesn't fall within those two sort of binary boxes.
I'm more than happy to do that.
That's where the harm comes.
But more than happy to say this is a thought.
The whole point of the statement is that everybody does fall within that binary. Because there's only two fucking genders, lady. Why is this hard? Why is this hard? These are like animal lovers. Are there non-binary cows? Are there non-binary fucking squirrels? I mean, what are we talking about? What are we talking about?
Thought experiments. No, let me just finish. More than happy to do that. But it seems that if I did that, that would not be enough.
You might have.
But then I
might not be the person to, you know, again, I think asking folks who hold those identities, sort of, if that is enough. So asking queer students, asking trans students, asking gay students, if you're asking about race or poverty or religion, of people who are part of those groups can really inform you better than I can.
You wanted to say, I wanted to hear her through.
No, I get it. And I'm just wondering, like, are any of you all, like, trained professionals in trauma-informed care? Like, if a transgender individual were to come to the space and participate, and then there was a triggering response where they needed emotional support, like, are you ready to support that? Because this conversation can bring up a...
Did you bring trauma counselors with you? Because your questions are going to trigger the trannies and they're going to need immediate emotional support on site. Like, she just said that. And she was serious about it. Like, she was absolutely serious. What is wrong with... I got to go trim my beard again. I fucked up. It's all retarded, dude. But she really just said that. She literally just said that. I gotta back it up. Did you really say it? I think you did.
Foreign care, like if a transgender individual were to come to the space and participate, and then there was a triggering response where they needed emotional support, like, are you ready to support that? Because this conversation can bring up a lot of emotions, and the people that are kind of working within it could be really triggered. But if no one's there as like an advocate or support, it could be pretty detrimental to the community you're asking. So I just want to like frame that. If you're not having like an advocate there as someone that can like be an emotional support or regulation for the people that are potentially harmed or triggered in this conversation, whether they're participating or not, like that's a potential thing to think about and could be a flaw in the system. Because you need to have someone to be able to support that emotionally, mentally, and for people's trauma. So if you're not, it's kind of like these people might leave and feel like without any support or any understanding of what they just went through. So
yeah,
just to think that.
And we know people who are in the gender minority experience higher rates of suicidal ideation, higher rates of anxiety and depression, and like they're seeing messages like this all throughout their lives. And so campus is supposed to be a safe space where everyone can exist freely in their own identities and who they are and be learning and be talking about these really, really important things within our culture and society. And by walking through this community member that we care about that should be in class today, learning about how to take care of their community and how to support marginalized individuals like themselves and others can't participate today because they saw that message. And that's what we mean by harm. And honestly, I don't even think adding a question mark is enough. I think it should be more of what is your perspective on gender identity? Because then you're opening up the question, or gender in general, right? Because we know that it's not just about identity, it's about who that person is. And by really framing it in the binary, that's where there's harm.
Can I put in like my 2 cents as a non-binary person?
Please,
Cool. I am gender non-conforming. I use they them pronouns. Do you know what that means?
I believe so, yes.
Are you aware of like the theory of social constructionism?
Yes.
So
I'm a gender studies scholar.
Yeah. So I'm much younger than you. These are all, this is all very new. I understand. Like my parents are boomers. They're in their 60s. They've had a really hard time understanding. So I've had to explain this to a lot of people in your generation. So you're aware of social constructionism. You're aware of gender as a social construct. When you say there are only 2 genders, those 2 genders are just social constructs that we made up from birth.
Gender is not a social construct, you fucking retard. Society may construct gender roles in society. They don't construct the actual gender. This bitch is crazy. Society doesn't pick if you're a man or a woman. They do pick the roles that men and women play in society. But these are roles that are picked out of necessity for the most part, and preference on the other parts. Listening to liberals hurts my brain. It hurts my brain. Because when I listen to people, I try to understand their logic, and there's none. There's none to understand with these people. They don't have any. They don't use it at all.
You were assigned a male at birth because you have a penis, I'm assuming. You presented...
No, he was not assigned male at birth. They noticed at birth he was a male because he had a dick. Like, assigned at birth means like you came out and then they chose for you if you're going to be a boy or a girl. No. No, they didn't. They just noticed what you are. And they don't do that at birth now. You find out at like 8 weeks if it's a boy or a girl. It's not a fucking secret. No one's hiding it. So, what's crazy with liberals, so at the same time that gender reveal parties are a liberal thing, where they have these huge celebrations with pink balloons or blue balloons or pink smoke or blue smoke or... So at the same time, they're having gender reveal parties. They're also arguing that there are no genders. What the fuck are you revealing then at the party? You're revealing a societal construct that you're deciding to perform. I'm confused here. She did just assume his gender as well. She also assumed his age. She's an ageist, clearly. Amik would like to think he's kind of smart and pretty kind to people, but this shit is making other people conform to what they want. I don't get it. Yeah, if you want to be a fucking weirdo, be a weirdo. Don't try to convince me that your fucking retardism is accurate or logical or makes any fucking sense.
Just male. Do you identify as male?
You're done.
Are you asking if I identify as male? I identify as male.
Because you were assigned a male at birth. Are you cis?
I'm sorry, I'm not sure where you're going with this. I'm trying to understand where you're going.
The idea of there being only two genders is a social construct because we have this idea of being assigned female at birth, assigned male at birth. Now, I'm non-binary. That's something that I have learned about myself over the last 6-7 years. After I was a teenager, I learned about sociology. I learned about gender as a social construct. And I realized that I don't fit into the box of just a cis woman. Okay, my gender is completely...
What makes you not fit in the box as a woman?
Whatever I feel like in the moment. I'm not just one solid thing. Sexuality, gender, these are all social constructs that we've created within our society, our binary society, where we've decided there's only male or female. So many people don't fit into that. And like, why do you feel like you're a man? Because you've been socialized to believe these things are associated with being a man. These things are associated with being a woman. There's only two boxes. But you don't have to conform to that. That's just what society has told you from birth. Someone said, a doctor said, this person has a penis. I'm going to assume that they have to be a man and fit into this box their whole life. But why? That's just...
I would love to hear other voices if you wanted to say something.
Engaging in this debate, Phil.
Do you feel...
He just said, can we move on to some of this bitch is fucking retarded. He is too polite, though. He is so nice. He's like, this bitch is dumb as rocks. Does anybody else want to say anything? Because the babble coming out of this binary fucking retard is ridiculous.
Feel that this is a debate?
That's your response? When you say, I want to hear from everyone else.
No, I do want to. No, I listened and I'm processing. Would you like me to engage her?
I want to hear
You want to hear from him?
No, I want to hear from him.
Okay. Do you have anything to say?
No,
I just want to make sure. So this is what I want. I don't want, the reason that I'm more than happy to engage you. The reason that I said that is you have how many people here? 15, I'm guessing. No, but let me finish. The reason I said that is because I don't want you to walk away and someone to say, you didn't give me a chance to talk. So I didn't give her a chance to talk before, but that's only because I was listening to what you were going to say. And I realized that the classes here aren't a lot of time. And the reason that I switched from what she had, and I'm more than happy to listen to her, is because I don't want people...
They just told you their pronouns and their lived experience.
Okay, then Okay, so instead of getting...
The experience of someone that doesn't conform to what I...
Okay, so this individual just told me that, and I'm trying to be reasonable, and I think it's better to have a conversation than for you guys to give me the finger and yell, fuck you. So you wanted to say something, go ahead.
It's already been you.
Aren't you
so
the
I
guy that
think
made up a bunch of
maybe
academic data
important
and submitted
to
to
address
Pretty
that
sure
she
that's
did, like just address you just called this person a
Okay.
and they just told you their gender was
Okay, well, I apologize, and I say they.
that's the harm being done that we were talking about.
Do you accept my apology? Okay.
It's the generation, it's a generational, education. If you
Okay, so...
and want
You're
to
good.
change and learn, that's great. I love that, and I accept your apologies.
It's not about
So
education.
isn't it better to have a conversation
It's
about
about
this than to
learning
scream
how to
at someone
use
from the
words
rooftop?
incorrectly.
Oh, I don't know who.
You can't
I
refer
certainly didn't
to
scream
one
from the
person
rooftop.
as a they.
Did any of you guys scream?
Yeah, I
yeah,
did.
yeah.
Yeah.
So you
You're
guys were
changing the word of what they means. Oh, here they come. And you're like, the one person? Yeah, that's them. No, dumb fuck. That's not how words work. You can't choose what the words mean. You could come up with a new word, like fucking retarded, to describe yourself. Which isn't a new word. It's a new word to describe yourself. But you can't just change the meaning of words that already exist. That's not how it works.
screaming and yelling "fuck you" to me and giving me the finger.
We were just saying, please go away. You're not welcome.
No, I said fuck
I think
you.
I said.
Okay. Okay. So
Can I just?
In a conversation.
My goal is to disrupt this. I
no.
don't want any more harm to
So
Yeah.
okay. So I understand that you believe. I can't remember where that over there she moved, but I understand that you believe this stuff, and we live in a democracy, and other people don't have those beliefs, and I want to ask people if the reasons they have for their beliefs are justified, and this is that experiment.
Your thought experiment. We actually have to go. We're not part of the thought experiment. We're all social workers, and we saw this harm being done, and we just wanted to come here with curiosity and also some information.
And do you feel that you've spoken? Do you feel that if anybody else has something to say that you haven't had an opportunity to speak?
Do you feel like you've learned anything or taken?
But that doesn't answer my question. I just asked if anybody else would like to speak. If you'd like to speak, I'm standing here. Okay.
But I think to Joel's point, we hope that this was informative and helpful. And
was
sorry
not.
if saying "fuck you" hurt your feelings. And
No, it didn't hurt my feelings.
but I'm glad because our student who was hurt, we're worried about them and potentially many others. And so that's why we came down to talk to you, just because we have a personal connection.
Well, I'm glad. Isn't it better to have a conversation with someone than to?
Yes.
I mean, isn't that what the whole enterprise should be about?
It's not safe for everybody to have that conversation.
Sometimes it's hard to just have a simple
not safe.
conversation.
It's not
Yeah.
safe
Especially
to
when
have
you're doing it like every
conversation.
fucking day of your
Yeah.
life.
Yeah.
This is something we're fighting for and advocating for. This is our job and what we care about, what we're passionate about. So sometimes it's hard to keep all those emotions in when we see someone that we care about being harmed.
At least
And do
she's
you think
admitted
that-
she's not using her brain. She's using her emotions. This is crazy, bro.
The best way for people to understand. What is the best way for people to understand your point of view?
This right now, showing up.
Thank you. Yeah. Oh, advocating.
Advocating for the people that may feel like they don't have a voice.
Okay, so the people who watch this, because this is being videoed, do you think that the people who watch this, who don't agree with you, as a result of having watched this, will then agree with you?
I'm not asking them to agree with me.
But don't you want to facilitate social change?
I'm asking you to have a different perspective to understand where we're coming from, because we came down here to try to understand where you're coming from.
Did you?
I don't think that anyone.
Did you really though?
To decide if this is
Okay, but you have to please be honest with me. Is that really why you came down, to understand?
Oh yeah, yes.
Yeah. We were very.
Okay, and what is your understanding of why I'm doing this?
Let's care about how you're.
It's the impact.
What I'm sorry, what I haven't heard from you. What is it?
It's not
I just want to tell you, we don't care about your thought experiment. We care about
the human.
the impact that it's having on.
Okay, so you didn't come down to understand why I'm doing this then.
We came down
Of
here to
course
tell
not.
you
They
like what
came
you're
down
doing
to
is harming
disrupt.
others. It's-
Right, so you didn't come down to understand. That's why I asked you to please be honest.
I truly do want to understand why this even
Just
exists.
because we didn't want to know how your game works doesn't mean we weren't coming down here to say.
So what is it that you understand for why I'm doing this? If you said you came down to understand why am I doing this? No, but this is
You
you've
came
made
to
a
understand
claim.
why.
You've made
talked
a claim.
for 20 minutes. Do you
Right.
understand why?
This is what?
You'll watch the video and have some.
What do you think the result of people watching this video will going to be?
What's your intent? What is the impact it's having?
That's all we're
What
asking.
harm is being done?
It's like, okay, prove my point. These idiots don't know shit. These idiots know nothing. They know nothing. That's crazy. I had seen, I don't know if I've watched that whole thing before, but I have seen clips of that before. But that guy is so nice. So nice. This is why I haven't done any public events yet. I can't be that nice. I'm going to have to work on myself first. Because I'm going to call a fucking retard a retard. And then I'm going to end up fighting somebody. Because I wanted to know their opinion on how many chromosomes exist in the body.